Attention passionate Baltimore Ravens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Baltimore Ravens' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Baltimore Ravens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Baltimore RAVENS fans. Let's get to the news all right. Folks, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you could be a game changer for the Ravens and the entire AFC North. There's a buzz going around the league, and it's centered on a potential blockbuster trade that might just reshape the division and give Baltimore an even clearer shot at postseason glory. We're talking about a player who's been one of the most elite cornerbacks in the league this season, and his name is Trent McDuffie. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Trent McDuffie from the Kansas City Chiefs, a guy who's been shutting down some of the best receivers in the league, might be heading to Baltimore. And let me tell you, if this deal goes through, it's not just a minor upgrade. It's a seismic shift in how the Ravens could compete in the playoffs and beyond. So let's set the scene. The Chiefs, sitting at a strong 12-2 record, are managing their cap space after that massive Mahomes extension, which honestly makes sense. They're all in on their superstar quarterback, and that's what champions do. But with the roster's current cap situation, especially after the team's recent Super Bowl run, they're in a tough spot financially. They need to free up some dollars, and that's where the trade talk heats up. Sources close to the league suggest that the Chiefs might be willing to part ways with McDuffie, a player they value incredibly highly, but one who might be expendable in their current strategic push for youth and cap relief. The suggested price? A first-round pick plus a second-rounder in 2026. That's a hefty price, but for a shutdown corner like McDuffie, it might just be worth it for Baltimore's defense. Now, why would the Ravens even entertain this? Well, it's all about bolstering that secondary, especially with the recent injury reports. Kyle Hamilton, who's been a key piece in Baltimore's defense, was added to the injury report with an ankle sprain, although reports suggest he's likely to play through it. Meanwhile, Marlon Humphrey, the heart and soul of that secondary, is sidelined with a hamstring injury and might be out for a couple of weeks. That leaves the Ravens a bit short-handed at cornerback, particularly when facing top-tier offenses like the Bengals, who have those dynamic wide receivers and explosive offenses. Adding McDuffie would be like injecting elite coverage talent into the mix, a guy who's been consistently shutting down some of the best WRs in the league, including Ja'Marr Chase. It's exactly what Baltimore needs to elevate their coverage and take some pressure off their safeties and other cornerbacks. And let's talk about McDuffie's profile because it's really impressive. The guy is a true lockdown corner, and his stats this year back that up. He has 7 interceptions in just 14 games, making him one of the most ball-hawking corners out there. He also has 20 pass deflections, a PFF coverage grade hovering around the top 4 in the league, and he allows just 0.8 yards of separation per route, top 3 in the NFL according to next-gen stats. That's elite-level coverage. Add to that 98 tackles, forcing 4 fumbles, and allowing a QBR of just 67. 4 when targeted, and you see the kind of impact player he is. Since entering the league in 2022, McDuffie has already accumulated 14 interceptions, over 300 tackles, and 58 pass deflections. His performance against the Broncos in Week 12 was a prime example. 2 interceptions, 0 yards allowed on 9 targets, 5 incompletions, and just 7 yards after catch allowed on those receptions. That's shutdown corner stuff. The fascinating part? McDuffie's injury history isn't a concern anymore. He had an ankle sprain last season, which caused him to miss some games, but in 2025, he's been relatively healthy with 0 serious injuries. His stats and film suggest he's at his peak, similar in style and impact to Patrick Surtain when he was in his prime. He covers at an average of just 2-3 yards per route, which significantly boosts the defense's ability to generate turnovers, especially in man coverage. When he's on the field, defenses tend to see a 15% increase in turnover rate, and that's exactly what Baltimore needs to push their playoff odds higher. When you look at the overall impact, McDuffie could be the missing piece to turn Baltimore's secondary into a true lockdown unit, making life miserable for opposing quarterbacks and cutting down their completion percentages significantly. Now, it's not just about what McDuffie brings individually. Think about the tandem he'd form with Marlon Humphrey. The Ravens' secondary would be a nightmare for offenses. Imagine cutting the completion rate of WR1s from around 62% down to about 48%, as some projections suggest, and drastically reducing the big plays. That's a game changer. With Awuzie sidelined for a couple of weeks, having McDuffie in the fold would provide immediate relief and help Baltimore's defense regain its swagger. He'd also give the Ravens a flexible coverage weapon, capable of playing in the slot when needed, freeing up Hamilton to blitz more often, which could be a nightmare for offenses trying to scheme around that. From the Chiefs' perspective, it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow. They're in dynasty mode, trying to build a sustainable winner around Mahomes, Kelsey, and their talented young core. But with a $15 million over-the-cap situation, they need to make some tough decisions. Trading McDuffie, a player with multiple interceptions and a proven elite coverage grade, might seem like a gamble, but it's all about cap space and future flexibility. The Chiefs are also looking at the bigger picture. They want to focus on their offense, especially with the recent injury to W.R. Rice, and are willing to part with some of their defensive youth to make it happen. Reports from insiders like Diana Rossini indicate that Kansas City is open to high draft picks, focusing on a subtle rebuild after rumors about Kelsey's retirement. They have enough depth in the secondary, with Snead emerging as a potential CB1, and they're prioritizing offense over defense right now. For Baltimore, this potential trade is more than just a roster upgrade. It's about positioning themselves as true contenders. Adding McDuffie would elevate the secondary to a whole new level, giving them a shot at shutting down top offenses in the playoffs. And let's be honest, the AFC is loaded this year, but Baltimore's defense with McDuffie could be a major X factor. Their odds to win the AFC title could even jump from plus 3,500 to plus 1,800, according to DraftKings, making them a serious threat to challenge the Chiefs or Bengals. Against a team like Kansas City, with Mahomes throwing for over 326 yards per game and an EPA per target of 0. 21, having a shutdown corner like McDuffie would be crucial. Imagine him shadowing Jamar Chase or other top receivers, forcing turnovers, and flipping the field for Lamar Jackson and the offense. The ripple effect: we could see a 19% boost in defensive EPA, which is huge in the context of the playoffs. Baltimore's chances of making a deep run could go from around 55% to a solid 75%. And that's not just theory. It's backed by data, film, and the kind of impact a player of McDuffie's caliber can have. His youth, just 24 years old, means he's a long-term asset in Baltimore's plans. His versatility also allows him to be a key piece in nickel and dime packages, freeing up Hamilton for more blitzes, which could be a real headache for offenses trying to scheme against the Ravens' defense. Now, let's talk about the big picture. This move could transform Baltimore into a perennial contender, echoing the dominant secondaries of the Steelers in the 2000s or early Ravens defenses that made life miserable for offenses. It's a bold pivot, no doubt, but one that could pay massive dividends. The AFC North is a brutal division, but with a secondary like this, Baltimore could be the team that comes out on top year after year, especially with the added ability to force turnovers and control the game's tempo. The Ravens' offense, with Lamar Jackson's dynamic playmaking, would have even more opportunities to capitalize on turnovers, setting up easy points and putting pressure on opponents to keep up. And let's not forget the playoff implications. With McDuffie, the Ravens' odds of winning in high-stakes games skyrocket. They'd be better equipped to handle the Bengals' explosive offense, especially with Burrow's high completion percentage and penchant for big plays. Their improved coverage would also help contain teams like the Steelers, who rely on big plays from their receivers like George Pickens. The potential for this trade to turn Baltimore into true Super Bowl contenders is real, and if it happens, it'll be remembered as one of the boldest moves in recent NFL history. So, in conclusion, if this trade materializes, it's not just about acquiring a great player. It's about shifting the balance of power in the AFC North and signaling Baltimore's intent to dominate for years to come. It's a move that aligns perfectly with their goal of returning to the Super Bowl, giving Lamar Jackson and the coaching staff a new weapon to unleash in critical moments. The Ravens have always been about smart, strategic moves, and this could be the one that puts them over the top. So keep your eyes peeled, Ravens fans, because this story isn't over yet, and the next chapter could be written with Trent McDuffie donning the purple and black. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Baltimore Ravens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Baltimore Ravens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential blockbuster move? Do you think McDuffie is the type of player that could push Baltimore into Super Bowl territory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Ravens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Baltimore Ravens news.